Hi there, friends. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me in the middle of your day today. I hope you're well as you're listening to or watching this. Today, we're going to talk about a simple yet deep and profound framework that helps working moms to experience a sense of vibrance in their health, well-being, and in their fulfilled living. Now, this is a deeply personal and important topic to me because as a therapist with over 20 years of experience, it's been kind of my job to help women in some of the most tender and vital parts of their lives, as well as in the really specific transitional seasons of life when women are realizing that they have outgrown an old way of doing things or an old sense of who they are and an old way of dealing with stress, navigating through life's difficulties, and an old way of just moving and working through relationships and their professions and whatever it is that is important to them. They're moving out of that old way and they're ready for something new, but they don't quite know yet what that's going to be. And they don't quite know the tools they need. They don't quite know the direction they need to head. They just know that they can't keep doing things in the way that they've always done it. And they're wanting connection and support. And my job is to provide that. It is honestly the best job. And when I'm in an educational space, I actually have the same calling as a mentor or as a guide. It is to help working moms move from whatever has been workable and important but is now a little bit old and outdated for them and move towards something that feels fresh, effective, deeper, streamlined, and my favorite word for this podcast, vibrant. They want to feel vibrant health. They want to feel vibrant emotional inner well-being. They want to feel like the person they're bringing to the world, to their work, to their families, to their friends is the most authentic and energized and connected version of themselves. So how do we do that as moms? This is what is called in the midlife research on women's health and wellness, the critical decade. So that critical decade is between the ages of about 36 to 46. Some women can move that decade bracket just a little bit back or a few years forward, maybe closer to 40 or 50. But 36 to 46 is considered the critical decade. And what's critical about this decade? This decade is so important because women's bodies and brains are starting to change pretty profoundly. And what women do during this decade makes a significant difference, according to the research, on what the following decades, like your 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond, are going to look like in terms of your health and well-being, both physically, but also from a mental health perspective. When I learned that that critical decade was way earlier than I thought it was going to be, honestly, a few things started to lock into place for me. One, if that woman is a mother, it is very likely that between the ages of 36 and 46, she has children either at a very young age or at a really important, like teaching life lessons, helping with friends age, or in teen years where there are unique things that are required of moms and parents overall, but moms of that aged adolescent kiddo. So either you're in that 36 to 46 period and you had children a little bit later in life and you have very young kids during that window, Or you had your kids a little bit earlier, but now you're navigating adolescence with them right when you're going through a major body brain change as a woman between the ages of 36 and 46. And when I look at what the data is saying about what women need during this critical decade, it actually is significant, the things that need to change in order for women to be well, in terms of physical health, in terms of emotional health, and in terms of stress management. And I feel like the significant shifts that need to occur are really difficult to achieve when you have children, and your attention and your time and your energy is not only focused on yourself and your work, but it's also focused on your family. So what is a working mom to do? I feel like the pain point for a lot of working moms is that they're just going to do their best with what the tools they already have and what is handed to them. And then once the kids leave, that will be the time to kind of pay attention to other things that have not had enough resourcing and have fallen on the back burner for that critical decade. And my friend, if that's you, if you're kind of thinking like, yeah, I definitely don't have any time to do anything different for my health or well-being, I'll just do that once the kids get older, or once I get to a better place in my job, or once things slow down, or whenever that kind of fill in the blank, whatever would come next thing, this podcast episode is for you. Because I don't want you to wait until some unspecified time or another decade, another 10 years from now, before you are able to prioritize a life that gives you a sense of deep fulfillment, until you're able to prioritize learning what you need to contribute to profound emotional well-being, and getting the simple but strategic changes for caring for your body as you move into the midlife transition. I don't want you to wait. I'm just thinking about moms think about what they didn't do for other people first. And that might be an important pull for you. Maybe you weren't able to show up as the mom you wanted to as much as you wanted to. Maybe your partnership suffers because of the lack of fulfillment and emotional well-being and physical health. Sure, like there are things that need you outside of you. Maybe your work suffers. Maybe you really identify with the work that you do in the world, and you know that if you can't just shore up your foundation a little bit more on the inside, that you're not going to be able to make the contribution to your work or to your community that you could otherwise if you had a little bit more vibrant energy and vitality going on inside. Those things are all true, and they're all really important. And they get to be maybe the most important things to you, maybe the most motivating things to you. But actually, my friend, what is more important to me as a mentor is that your experience in that critical decade, if we don't simplify and get intentional and get kind of trained up on what to do, your experience of yourself and of your one precious life will be truncated, will be contained, and will be limited to perhaps an outdated set of ideas that maybe have kept you moving forward to this point, but are no longer working as well. I care about your joy, your sense of relaxation and openness. I care about your stress. I care about the things that you ruminate about, the things that keep you up at night. I care about the self-limiting beliefs and the self-consciousness and the wavering confidence that can come as life starts to ask you to pay attention to your body and brain in a way that you've never expected to have to do before. I care about your feeling of thriving, of having energy at the end of the day. I care about you having mental time and attention for the ideas and the things that matter most to you. And I care about you feeling at home and in your own skin and the body that you have. And I care about you feeling confident about the way that you're setting yourself up to live the hopefully full second half of your life. Now, when we have, I think kids at pretty much any stage, especially if you have very young kids, but I think when we have kids in the home, we're so focused on just keeping the wheels turning, keeping everyone happy, connected, feeling loved, that it is really hard to think about adding something new to our plates. But that is where the vibrant mom framework comes in. To me, this is a solution for that kind of outdated, uncomfortable, unworkable way of doing your life that's not resulting and feeling as fulfilled as you just kind of wish it could be. This is about not adding more things within the framework to your life, but simplifying what you're doing, being strategic about what actually works during this critical decade, and then deepening your connection to the most important things that give you this really renewed and vibrant feeling of health and well-being. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to throw up a little image that describes the framework. And if you're listening to this on a podcast, I'll describe it to you. Working moms are feeling stretched thin, overwhelmed, under-resourced, and disconnected from their most joyful, most peaceful, most easeful, and most authentic way of being. Most of us are. And the world, like culture, social media, has a million suggestions for how we should remedy that problem. And they usually come with big dollar signs attached and a lot of work that we just don't have to give. So the Vibrant Mom framework narrows this down to a few foundational things that when we follow those foundational steps, we start to experience vibrant health, vibrant well-being, and a vibrant impact on the world around us. So if you can imagine this bottom foundation, we're going to go from the bottom up, just like we would build a house. We would start with laying a foundation. Foundation number one for vibrant health, vibrant life, being a vibrant mom is emotional well-being. And this is the part that I see educated about and spoken about the least effectively and the least amount. I just hear people saying you need to like get a hold on your stress and do some meditation and breathing. That's kind of the recommendations that I see. And actually meditation and breathing are wonderful tools. They can really help with emotional well-being, but those are just like two small tools and a greater toolkit that women nearing or squarely in midlife really need. We need evidence-based, soulful, maturing, and deepening ways to move through our emotional pain and our stress and the things that we find difficult from the inside. Most women I know don't really have a solid sense of what it is they are to do on the inside when they're having difficult emotions. I think most women think that they need to either change themselves so they're not feeling that way anymore. They need to change the situation so they're not feeling that way anymore. or they need to just choose a different emotion. That's like kind of a popular emotional strategy. Just choose the way that you want to feel and then just feel that way. As a mental health provider, I have a lot of other ideas about what could actually help you move through those emotions with more skill. So, framework tenet number one on your way to becoming a vibrant mom is to get a new emotional well-being toolkit. You need to know how to relate to your inner world, your difficult thoughts, your uncomfortable feelings with more skill. You need more than just trying to change yourself or change other people. We need to learn how to change the way that we're relating to whatever that content is within. And we need to learn how to draw from and take the information out of whatever it is that we're feeling and use it to make decisions, to make little edits and pivots in our path, and to inform the way that we're going to move forward from whatever that uncomfortable place was within. So once we get that solid emotional foundation and we're able to really move through our emotional inner world with a lot of skill, and we're not getting stopped or limited by our uncomfortable emotions or difficult thoughts as much, when we're not continuing to go back over and over again into the same pitfalls, the same insecurities, the same limiting beliefs, when we've found strategies that help us to move forward and beyond from that, then when we have this emotional well-being foundation, we move up to the next level of the framework, which has think about it as like three building blocks, three square blocks stacked on top of that long rectangular bar of emotional well-being at the bottom. The three next pillars for that vibrant mom, vibrant life outcome is midlife physical health, block number one. Block number two, identity evolution. And block number three is creative fulfillment. So in my own midlife journey, I really realized that I needed a new strategy for emotional well-being. Even though I'm a therapist and I've been helping people with this for 2 decades, being in the midlife space really required me to get a new toolkit. And what I realized is that there were a few gaps still missing, that to actually feel vibrant and well and at home in my own self and in my own life, I needed to take care of my body in different ways. I needed structure and tools to help me locate the new me that was wanting to emerge and to get back to something that felt more like myself and less like who I was being for everybody else. So I needed some identity evolution support. And then also I realized, wait, just even if my body is feeling really good and my emotions and inner world are feeling good, and I'm feeling pretty good about who I'm growing into, and I have a sense of what that is, there's still something missing. And that is because I think that probably all humans, but since I'm talking to you, Mama, I think that we are designed to want and need to create something from either nothing or from the most important things to us. And we need to be able to use that creativity to make our lives, our relationships, our way of doing our life, and then maybe our impact on our sphere of influence or the people in our worlds. We need to have a fulfilling pathway to become more creative, to harness our creativity, and to offer that to the world. We need to go on that vulnerable and brave journey of tapping into something new and that wants to emerge from within us, and then put it out into a physical representation that either beautifies or uplifts ourselves or the people around us, or makes a direct contribution with the decades of lived experiences and wisdom that we're starting to step into, being able to offer to other people or other processes or other projects. We have a purpose outside of surviving, outside of mothering. We have a purpose to offer our unique gifts and insights and ways of being or seeing to people and processes outside of ourselves. When we're doing that, we feel this kind of transcendent, meaningful, purposeful way of being in the world. We get outside of our schedules and the hamster wheel of bedtimes and lunches and soccer practices and all the things. And we feel like there's more to this season of our life than just caregiving and doing what we need to do at work. We've got this kind of deeper connection to simple yet beautiful things that we want to savor and interact with and contribute. No, most working moms I know, our time and our attention is at a premium. So it can be really difficult to know everything that you would need to know for emotional well-being, midlife physical health, how to have a solid kind of sense of self and growing identity evolution framework, and then how to tap into that creative fulfillment when you don't have a lot of time or energy to invest. It can be really hard to know how to do all of those things. And I want to say that first of all, you're not alone. And I've created curriculum and programming that will help you with all of this. So hang tight. I'll definitely won't keep the goods away from you. I'll give it all to you over time on this podcast, or you can, fast track your fulfillment, your vibrant health, your vibrant well-being by hopping into the Vibrant Mom Collective. We're here to receive you and can't wait to have you join us. But what if you were to kind of narrow your focus, even just for yourself? If I'm looking at me, what I need to look at is what helps me to be emotionally well. What is feeling good in my body right now? What micro practices help me to be connected to myself and the me that I'm growing into? And in what small ways can I infuse a little bit of creativity into my day to day? And can I share that creativity bravely with the people around me? If you focused on those four things in whatever way you know how to do that, you would feel a deeper sense of vibrant health and well-being. This is what's so cool to me about the Vibrant Mom framework. When we get that solid block of emotional well-being at the foundation, then we are less held back by the midlife physical health changes we need to make. Because anytime we're making changes, it's hard, it takes a lot of effort, it's slow, and then uncomfortable feelings, self-doubt, shame, frustration, embarrassment come up. So in order not to be stopped in our progress with those midlife physical health things we want to change, we need really good emotional well-being toolkits to navigate those fluctuations of thought and emotion so that we can keep going and we just don't dead end and give up. Same thing with learning how to connect with ourselves in a new way and know who we are and who we're growing into. And also with that creative fulfillment, overcoming the limiting beliefs, the fears, the unknown, the uncertainty, the difficulty that comes with identity evolution and creative fulfillment. As a human, you're going to have adverse experiences as you're moving in the directions that you most want to head in. And we often get stopped in our progress of moving forward when we face kind of emotional turbulence within and kind of fall back on our patterns, fall back on our familiar ways of self-protection, and then kind of stall out our growth, our movement forward until life becomes uncomfortable enough or frustrating enough or annoying enough, or until we feel a new surge of inspiration to keep going on those paths. But then guess what's going to happen? We're going to run into frustrations, difficulty, adversity. So What I love about the framework is that as long as you have that emotional well-being foundation, it will keep pushing and propelling those other important areas of your life forward. And then once you imagine on top of this big block, if you're listening, this beautiful sun with like rays of light shooting out and beaming out in all directions. When women step into their vibrant well being, their potential is unmatched. Your potential is unleashed, and the meaning, the light, the contribution you can make in your sphere of influence is limitless. And the joy and fulfillment and energy and playfulness that you could experience from that like ray of sun, vibrant feeling is pretty special. Again, I would love for you to experience that deep, meaningful ray of sunlight bursting out. Yes, to contribute to the processes and people in your sphere of influence, offering your unique way of being and ideas and gifts to the things and the people around you. But more so, I want you to know what it feels like to be living your life in a way that feels the way that I described. And I would love for your children or your child, if you have one, to watch you in your authentic power and fullness. And then this is what's even cooler about this framework. You can imagine that sun shooting beams of light, your radiant light, into the world around you. And then those light beams like become little arrows and they circle back around and feed into that bottom layer of the framework, which is your emotional well-being. So the more that you do this practice, the more that you start from the foundation of emotional well, really trying to do little bits every day about health and identity and creativity. And then you feel yourself emerging like a ray of sun into the world around you. That experience of joy and vibrancy and fulfillment feeds into a solid feeling of being well, of being emotionally well, of trusting yourself, of feeling confident, of feeling steady within, even when the waves of life are intense. So it's like a generous and self-fulfilling cycle that benefits everyone. And most importantly to me, as you know, benefits you, Mama. We moms need other moms to take care of us. We need practices and tools that care for us as we're caring for the work and the people in our lives. So if you're ready to get those solid toolkits, the expert frameworks, and something new that you're probably not going to get anywhere else, or that would take you a very long time interacting with AI and researching and all of the things, like I've done all of that work and research as a mental health provider, let me just give it to you in a simplified, highly effective, and potent streamlined process. You'll find all of it in the curriculum, this Vibrant Mom Pathway Framework curriculum inside the Vibrant Mom Collective. You never know when a new room, a new group of women, and new perspectives and new education and teachings, you never know what all of that support could do to propel you forward into either something that feels just better or more authentic than you're experiencing right now, or you never know where your creative potential could take you and the deep joy and well-being you could step into. I want to raise the bar for all of us right now about how it will feel to be a working mom in midlife, especially as a result of engaging with the Vibrant Mom framework and pathway curriculum. So that was your official invitation. You'll be invited lots of times. I hope you take me up on taking a look at it with the link in the show notes below. But I want you to check in with yourself. Take a pause. You're walking with me, you're driving with me, you're doing dishes with me right now. Take a pause. Maybe make a little commitment to yourself over the next couple of days. Maybe pick one thing for each category, one tiny thing you could do that you know already works for you, that helps your emotional well-being feel just a little bit more lifted. One thing that you could commit 10 minutes to doing that would make a big difference for your midlife mama body. And then one thing that would help you to be in a little bit more of a deeper conversation with yourself, that helps you to know yourself a little bit more in this season of life. Even if you don't know what to do with that information, just paying attention and listening to yourself would be a meaningful gesture of authentic connection, you with you. And then one little thing that to you represents living life with a little bit more creativity and bringing a little bit more intention to something specific that you could bring that would bring a little bit more meaning or a little bit more texture or substance to the day to day. I read all the comments. I love hearing from you. So if you ever want to send me a little message and post it in the notes or below on the YouTube, the 4 things that you're going to try to do this week to just add a little bit of this vibrant mom energy into your world, I would love to hear it. As always, thank you for your time and your attention, and I'll see you next time.